Then in 1982, Charles Zachary Bornstein, a young New Yorker with an impressive musical background, took over. Under his direction, the orchestra began to realize its potential with great haste, and it's been nothing but rapid progress ever since. Maestro Bornstein recalls his first meeting with the symphony.
The Newfoundland Symphony Orchestra offered me a concert in the form of an audition, or an audition rather in the form of a concert last March. And I had a very wonderful rapport with the orchestra. They were very flexible. They were very eager to learn the style in which the pieces we were doing have been accustomed to be played. And it was a general, it was a very, it was an emotional experience for me. They were so cooperative, the audience was so receptive. It was a new place for me. I had never been here. It seemed like something of an adventure when they, 2 months later, sent me a telegram asking me to become the music director. I replied in the affirmative immediately. I thought it would be a great experience, which it has turned out to be.
How does this orchestra compare with others you've worked with?
Well, I've worked with a wide variety of orchestras, and orchestras of varying levels. I've worked with student orchestras, I've worked with professional orchestras, I've worked with some university orchestras. And I think this orchestra really is much different than any other type of orchestra. It's very hard to type this orchestra because there are several professional players, which are players that could be playing in any of the major orchestras. Then we have several volunteers who are not professional in the sense that they earn their living as musicians, but play equal to most professionals. And then we have some students, some very young people that play in our orchestra that also play in the youth orchestra. And in general, there's not an orchestra in the world quite like this one. It's such a mixture of different elements. In general, I would say that this orchestra is probably, at this moment, the wonder of Canada. Perhaps the world. There's not an orchestra anywhere in the world that has made the progress that this orchestra has made. This orchestra plays on a level with any professional orchestra by the time of concert. So I really can't put a tag on it. The only comparison that I could make with this orchestra would be perhaps in Italy around the turn of the century when Toscanini used to conduct in Milan or Florence. And when the call came that Toscanini wanted a rehearsal one afternoon, he closed the barber shop and he closed the restaurant, and they came from the railroad, from the train station, and suddenly there were some trombones and violins and maybe a mandolin or whatever, and there was a symphony orchestra. It was the Milan Symphony or it was the Florence Symphony or whatever. They weren't all professional musicians. They weren't making their living by it. There was no musicians union. Doubtful if any of them got paid. Maybe some were music teachers or whatever, or violin teachers. But that was the orchestra. They rehearsed hard, and when it came time for the concert, it was an event, as it is here now, I'm quite proud to say.